Hello, greetings, and welcome to this video that departs a little bit from my usual content. I sat down one day and got to thinking about what exponential growth could mean for Aptera and what value Aptera would bring to the world. Today, I will talk about why Aptera is one of the most interesting companies in the world and try to predict where I think it could be heading in the future in three trajectories. I will also talk about recent news with regards to Aptera's production progress, so strap in and let's get going. First things first, Aptera went to the Swiss's snowy ski slopes, nailed that on the first time by the way, to show off their Gamma vehicle to potential investors. The trip made for some really cool and interesting content from the likes of Aptera Owners Club and Drive the Lightning, who were able to either interview or show off the video footage of people who were able to go to see the Gamma up close and in the snow. As far as I understand it, they did not go there for snow testing, but the pictures did look really cool, so, there was that. There was a video produced that is playing in the background by the Aptera team featuring Steve Fambro, giving an update regarding their progress towards production. Essentially, they're cutting the production tooling for the Aptera. This means that they're just that much closer to making Aptera vehicles. It is a signal, in my honest opinion, that Aptera is really, really close to making it to production and delivering vehicles, which is great for solar mobility. Aptera is one of those companies that dares to challenge the status quo in a way that few companies have. While most companies try to make something that appeals to their audience, and if they are lucky, they consider efficiency at some point down the road, Aptera is the only automaker that I personally can think of that started with efficiency at its core and branched out from there. As one of Aptera's CEOs stated, we started with efficiency first. That efficiency-first principle later allowed them to do fun, interesting, and sometimes slightly wacky things with the vehicle itself, like put solar panels on the vehicle that actually make a meaningful impact on its ability to recharge. That, my friends, is why I believe Aptera must succeed. Imagine a world where the most efficient product that could benefit the most people is not able to come to fruition, to become a reality. That doesn't sound like a very fun world in the long term, at least not in my opinion. This could be the first technological innovation that has an opportunity to make a huge difference, not only in the first world, but places like Africa and the Middle East, whose reliance on fossil fuels is well known and accepted because the alternative is, or was, very expensive and infrastructure heavy. Aptera's solar vehicle has the potential to meet the needs of many people in areas without much access to electricity who otherwise would have to rely on fossil fuels or their own 2 feet to get around or power things in their home, assuming Aptera includes a feature for powering devices from their vehicle. The implications of making their solar vehicle capable of powering small devices like hot plates and the like would also be extremely useful in ways that I feel are fairly apparent, so I'm not going to mention them in this video. I mention that example because of my second point. Aptera is a disruptor in ways that I don't think a lot of people see, or at least in ways that I don't think very many people outside of Aptera's very vocal, very fun base talk about. In the past week, I was speaking with one of my co-workers about the implications of legacy automaker strategies to go electric. We basically talked about how and why their strategies were the way they were, and we essentially said that the reason some automakers like Toyota could hold on to their gas fleet for so long was the fact that access to electricity in a lot of countries around the world was still in its infantile stages. And the switch to electric vehicles, therefore, was very impractical because of charging infrastructure. Since Aptera could meet the needs of most drivers in African countries, for an example, basically 70% of drivers in African countries drive less than 64 kilometers, or 39 miles per day, Aptera could theoretically completely upend Toyota's control of the market there with an electric vehicle that charges itself in large part purely by the sun. That access could make transitions to electricity in some areas much more reasonable and much less costly. Imagine a grid of Aptera vehicles providing power throughout the day to a couple of small appliances, for instance. Aptera's efficient use of resources is another point as to why Aptera needs to succeed. The electric market today is becoming littered with car companies, mostly legacy automakers, that try to optimize their range by simply making bigger battery packs fit into their cars. While this is indeed a method, it also wastes a lot more resources than just making everything about your vehicle more efficient. Aerodynamics, drivetrain, and the like are more effective and more efficient ways to make meaningful differences to your range, and Aptera is the manifestation of that ideal in a way that simply no one else has been able to achieve. This particular section is what essentially boils down to my personal thoughts based on data trends from other successful automakers. Let it again be stated that this is an inference and only represents a set of my best guesses. At any rate, let's check this out. I will compare Aptera to the only purely electric vehicle manufacturer that has 14 years of data for production, aka Tesla. When Tesla started production in 2008, they received something like 2,500 pre-orders for their first Roadster vehicle, which, as you may remember, is essentially a Lotus Elise electric conversion. Originally, they could produce something like 500-ish cars per year. Scaling that up over the past 14 years, with zero marketing, mind you, which still absolutely blows my mind, they produce more than 1.3 million cars. For reference, that is 2,600 times more vehicles than they could produce their first year. They were able to fill their approximately 2,500 pre-orders in 4 years or so. Please note that it was extremely difficult to find this number, as the original Roadster and the $250,000 variant that hasn't released yet both had approximately 1,000 pre-orders, according to several articles which I found later to be false. On that note, if someone has a better number than the 2,500 I cited, please let me know in the comments. In contrast, Aptera is a different animal entirely when it comes to pre-orders. To date, 41,000 people have pre-ordered an Aptera. This fact means that the company could, if they keep to Tesla's timeline of filling their 41,000 orders in 4 years, which is approximately what they're trying to do, and have even a 20th of the rate of proportional growth that Tesla had, they could be looking at an eye-watering 1,300,000 cars made per year 14 years after they start production. My math is on the screen for you all to check. Now that stated, this would essentially mean that if my very crude math is accurate, they can match Tesla with 1/20th the growth over the same period of time. Again, that is 1/20th, and the lowest of lowball estimates that I was willing to entertain, considering how big I think Aptera will get when people realize how amazing solar can be on an efficient vehicle, and considering they have more or less confirmed that somewhere down the line, they want to make a full fleet of vehicles for hauling cargo and passengers alike. Now, even though I have confidence that you all can do the math, I'm going to still put up the math for my 1/10 and 1/2 estimates respectively. For the 1/10 number of 2.6 million cars produced per year, that would put them right at the 13th slot for the most vehicles sold in the most recent numbers I could find on the topic. At half the proportional growth of Tesla, that could be 13 million cars per year, making them the #1 automotive manufacturer in the world. Now, seeing these numbers made me even more excited about the prospects of an extremely efficient car company. And we didn't even talk about approximate revenue, which, by approximate margins, could even match Tesla pound for pound. My final thoughts are thus. All of the numbers I shared with you are as realistic a set of number predictions as I could muster at this point in my knowledge. If you all have thoughts or believe my numbers are lacking or in error, please let me know in the comments section. I would be more than happy to learn, more than willing to absorb new information and grow as a person. That is always my goal. Anyway, I appreciate the time you took watching this video, and I also appreciate my nearly 60 subscribers that joined this month. If you want to get an Aptera for yourself, you can click my reservation code below to get a $30 discount on your pre-order. If you want to invest, you can do that as well through the investment section of the aptera.us website. Please note that they are doing the accelerator program for the Aptera, and in which case if you invest more than $10,000, which by the way, none of the stuff that I said previously in this video is investment advice, you can do that and get cool little gifts from Aptera for investing that 10K. Again, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I hope you enjoy the next one. And even have a 20th of the rate of proportional growth. Oh my goodness. Let's make that smooth. Let's make that smooth. Slow is smooth and smooth is fast. There it is. All right.